Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
The Yellow Ladybird. The spring had come at last. Dolly decided it was time to tidy up her flower garden. She got her spade and a rake and tied a pretty dotted scarf around her head. She had only just stepped outside when she heard someone groaning behind her house. "Christopher, your wing looks broken," the little ladybird exclaimed. "The sun shone in my eyes and I flew straight into a tree. I really hurt myself," the canary said. Just then, Berry the snail and Stanley the stag beetle arrived. "Stanley, please go and get Dr. Owl. Christopher's wing's broken," Dolly said, taking control. Dr. Owl soon arrived. It looks like a very bad break," he said seriously. Then carefully and slowly he bandaged Christopher's broken wing. "You know, Dolly," Christopher said one day, "there's a little ladybird living on the island I come from." "Really? Is she red with black dots like me?" Dolly asked excitedly. "And what's her name?" "She's called Katie. Her back isn't red, it's yellow, but her dots are black like yours. She looks a lot like you. Why don't you come to meet her when my wing's better?" "That sounds like a super idea. Can Berry come too?" "Of course he can. There's enough room for both of you on my back." A few days later, Dr. Owl came to visit the injured canary. He was happy to say that Christopher's wing was as good as new. The canary thanked the owl for his help, put Berry and Dolly on his back, and headed for his island home. They soon found themselves flying over a large lake with a little island in the middle of the water. "Can you see it? We're flying to that island. My nest is on top of the highest tree. Hold on tight, we're coming in to land." Christopher landed perfectly, and Berry and Dolly climbed down. "You can't catch me!" shouted a bright beetle in an orange dress. She was talking to the tiny fleas running after her. "Watch out!" Dolly shouted, but the girl beetle ran right into her. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to knock you over. My name's Katie. Who are you?" "Oh, you're Katie. We're here to see you. My name's Dolly, and I've come a long way to meet my ladybird cousin." "Ladybird cousin?" Katie asked with a puzzled smile. "Yes. You've got black dots just like me, except you're yellow instead of red." "Wow, you're right," the yellow ladybird said. "Come with me and I'll show you my house," Katie said. As soon as they saw Katie's house, Berry and Dolly started to laugh. "My house looks exactly like this, but mine's red." Berry, Dolly and Katie took a long walk around the island. "There's the pine forest with the little stream running next to it. We built the bridge ourselves," Katie explained with pride. "And what's that in the middle of the meadow? It looks like a slide." "That's right. It's a special flower slide. Come with me. I'll show you." "Can I have a go?" "Of course you can. Follow me," Katie said and slid down on the curvy slide. Berry, Dolly and Katie slid down the slide again and again until it started to get dark. "It's getting late. Come on, you two, I'll take you home," Christopher said. Dolly and Katie swapped headscarves as a parting present. "Have a safe trip home," Katie told them. "Do visit me again sometime." It was getting very late by the time Christopher arrived at Dolly's dotty house. The moon shone and the sky was full of sparkling stars.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
September. Reggie Squirrel. Autumn had arrived and it was Reggie Squirrel's 7th birthday. Reggie woke up early and set off excitedly to visit the stag beetle. He knocked loudly on Stanley's door, but no one answered. Berry and Balthazar's houses were empty too. No one's at home. Who can I celebrate my birthday with? He sobbed to himself. Hi there, happy birthday, shouted Harry Hedgehog. Your friends told me to take you for a ride while they prepare your present. So that's why no one's at home, Reggie said, smiling again. He sat in the hedgehog cart and they set off. In the meantime, the centipede busily raked the leaves up and the woodworms wriggled about in them. That's enough of that. I need to clear the leaves from the path, the centipede said. You could pick the litter up because we should look after nature. Okay, we'll help, the woodworms whistled. Then they saw Harry Hedgehog and Reggie Squirrel, and they waved at the birthday boy when the hedgehog cart passed them. It was the afternoon by the time they got back to Reggie Squirrel's home. Happy birthday! All the forest friends shouted with glee. Reggie Squirrel saw that the pals had bandaged the oak tree. You've made my tree better, Reggie said with a tear in his eye. Hooray for Reggie Squirrel! Shouted a band of squeaky little voices, and the fireflies appeared high up above. We've made you 7 lanterns for your 7th birthday. They're beautiful, said Reggie, clapping his paws together. At that point, Berry and Dolly handed the hazelnut cake they had made to Reggie. And while they were eating, Zephyr made an announcement. A 7th birthday is an important thing because 7 is a special number. There are 7 colours in the rainbow. A dragon has 7 heads. And there are 7 days in a week. There are 7 dwarfs in the story about Snow White. And there are 7 notes on a musical scale. You still haven't seen your main present, said the little flower beetle as he hopped around. Have you found the hot air balloon? Reggie asked with a surprised smile. We found it and fixed it, said a proud Berry. Come on, we'll take you for a flight. Hooray! Reggie Squirrel cried, and he hopped happily into the balloon's basket. They flew high above the tiny houses and had a super view of the forest from the sky. Then the stars appeared, and Reggie stared in delight at the twinkling night sky. It's been a busy day, hasn't it? Asked Dolly. Yes, it's been a busy and brilliant birthday, Reggie Squirrel agreed with a grin. Good night, the little friends shouted, and the squirrel climbed sleepily back into his house, cuddled up in his little bed, and soon fell fast asleep.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
Lanterns. The fireflies lived in a little round house that hung from the branch of a tree on the top of a hill. They woke up one summer morning to find their house was blowing back and forth like a giant swing. There's a storm outside, the wind's rocking the house, one of the fireflies said in a terrified tone. We'll have to stop it or the house will break off the branch, a second firefly shouted, but it was already too late. The rope broke and the house began to fall. Ah! The fireflies shouted and flew out of the windows as quickly as they could. No one was hurt, but the house was ruined. The forest friends gathered to see what all the noise was about. "The house is smashed up," cried the littlest firefly, and he ran to Dolly. "We'll build you a new one," Balthazar offered. "The biggest problem is that all our lanterns broke," the head firefly told them. "We'll stick them back together somehow," Berry nodded. "No, Berry, they can't be stuck back together. We have to go and see the great lightning beetle. Only he can give us new lanterns," the firefly informed him. "When do we leave?" the others asked. "Right away." The fireflies all set off. "Have a good trip," Berry and Dolly shouted after them. They flew for 3 long days. They spent the first night under the cap of a mushroom. On the second night, they cuddled up in a cave. Then on the 3rd day, they arrived at the lightning beetle's house. The old beetle's house looked just like the fireflies' lamps, but it was much bigger. The lightning beetle slowly opened the door. He had difficulty moving around and his silver wings draped down over his bent back. He wore a tall, pokey hat and his beard hung down to the ground. He looked just like a wizard. "Come on in," he muttered. The fireflies told him how their house had fallen to the ground and how all their lanterns had smashed. "That's what's happened. Only you can help." "Very well, I'll help you. I'll give you all new lanterns, but you need to take good care of them. You're the only ones in the forest who can bring light to the dark night." One by one, he carefully handed the lamps to the fireflies. "Hold them tight," he said, and he waved his stick, and the light magically appeared in the lamps. "They're so pretty, thank you. We promise that we'll take good care of our new lanterns," the fireflies told him, and then they all flew out of the house. "Where are we going to live when we get home?" they asked each other in a worried buzz. But they did not have to worry for long. Hey, come over here, this is your new house," shouted Berry, Dolly, Balthazar, Flutter, Stanley and all the other forest friends. "We built you a house in the hole in this tree," said Berry. "And we made the windows and a door," Flutter continued. "Your house definitely won't fall down again now," Balthazar announced with pride. "Thank you," the fireflies all said, and they went tiredly to bed. They climbed into the 15 beds and were all soon fast asleep.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
Seashells. Zephyr the dragonfly and Leapy the grasshopper girl were collecting pebbles down by the stream. Dr. Owl flew down to join them. "I'm going to see Bubble, he's got a sore throat," he said and hurried on. But soon after that, he tripped on a tree root and fell over. His doctor's bag flew open and everything fell out onto the ground. Leapy and Zephyr helped to gather up all of his things. As well as medical instruments, they found all kinds of strange things. They were presents from my patients. "You shouldn't keep such beautiful treasures in your doctor's bag." "You're right.
I'll look for a small box, the old owl nodded. But I've got to hurry because Bubble is waiting for me.
Bye-bye, Dr. Owl, the girls shouted after him.
Zephyr and Leapy were strolling home when they saw the robin outside Dolly's house. The red bird was just saying goodbye to the ladybird girl.
I have to go now. It's a long flight to the seaside. Are you going to the seaside?
Can we go with you too? Asked Zephyr and Leapy with glee.
I'd be happy to take you,
the bird replied. They could clearly see the whole forest from high in the sky, as well as the lake and all the little houses. They flew for a very long time until they reached the endless blue of the salty sea. Thank you for your help, Robin. And the friends ran quickly to the sandy beach. They collected super seashells and could hardly decide which ones they liked the best. Look, this one's beautiful too. I'll put it in the bag, said Leapy as the treasures began to collect in the little bag. Just then the crab appeared and walked straight through the sand-coloured bag, smashing their carefully collected pile of seashells into little pieces.
Oh, the shells!
She nervously tipped the contents of the bag out onto the sand, but not one single shell was still intact. Don't be sad. The best shells are never on the beach, but deep down at the bottom of the sea. I'll bring you much more beautiful seashells. The girls liked the sound of this. The crab jumped quickly into the sea and very soon reappeared with a collection of fabulous seashells. He kept doing this until the bag was completely full.
They're beautiful seashells, Crab, thank you.
It's time for us to go home. We have to find the robin. But the robin had no intention of going home.
Not until the spring,
she said sulkily.
Then how will we get home again?
The girls asked.
By turtle! Come on! I'll give you a ride,
said a voice from the waves. So Leapy and Zephyr travelled home on the turtle's back. When they arrived back home, they thanked the turtle for his help and said goodbye. The next day, Leapy and Zephyr showed Berry and Dolly all the lovely seashells they had collected.
Let's make something out of them, Berry suggested. That's a super idea, but what?
Asked Zephyr. Oh, I know. Let's make a box for Dr. Owl's treasures, Leapy said, and they all got hard to work. The old owl was very pleased with the box, and he carefully placed his collection of special things inside. A pebble, a pine cone, a conker, a pressed flower, a pencil, some drawings, and a wooden horse.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
Bad dream. It was a stormy night and Berry the little snail was getting ready to go to sleep. He brushed his teeth and jumped into bed. He soon heard a strange noise outside. I suppose it's just the wind. Then he heard the noise again. What could that be? He popped his slippers on and opened the door, but couldn't see a soul. I must be imagining things, he said, and slipped back into bed. But then someone knocked again. Who is that? Berry grumbled. He threw the door open and stared outside. Grub, come inside. You're so tiny that I didn't see you. What's wrong? I had a bad dream. Can I stay with you for the night? The grub said. Of course you can stay. Berry set to work folding a cardboard box into a bed for the grub. There you go. You can sleep here. And what can I use for a blanket? My hat should do the trick. It's just like a sleeping bag. That's good, Grub. Now get some sleep. I'm very tired. Berry was just dropping off to sleep when the green grub spoke.
Can I have the light on, Berry? I'm scared in the dark.
The moon's so bright in the sky tonight. There's nothing to be afraid of. Now try and get some sleep.
But it's dark.
The grub went on. It's not dark.
It is dark.
Oh, all right. I'll open the curtains and you'll be able to see the moon. The stars are twinkling too. Now let's sleep, Berry complained. The little snail pulled his blanket up to his nose and he was soon fast asleep. But the green grub woke him up again.
I'm thirsty.
Then have a drink, grub, Berry barked.
I can't reach. Please help me, Berry. I only want a drop of water. Thank you. Sleep well.
And Berry would have slept well if the green grub hadn't woken him up again.
I'm hungry now.
It's too late to eat. We'll have breakfast in the morning.
But I'm hungry. I've had no supper because of the storm.
The grub complained.
Thank you. I won't disturb you again.
The green grub promised. But he didn't keep his promise.
Berry, I can't get to sleep. I'm scared.
He said and woke the little snail up again. What are you scared of? Berry asked with an exhausted yawn.
I don't know. Please tell me a story that always sends me off to sleep.
All right, I will. I'll never be able to get to sleep now anyway. Berry started to tell the tiny grub a story. He told him about the day the kite flew away, how they found the mushroom's cap, how Dr. Owl cured his earache, and what the centipede got for Christmas. But the grub hardly heard any of it because he was soon sound asleep. Berry could at last get to bed. By the time they woke, the storm had passed and the sun was shining. Can you see that picture by my bed? Sometimes I have bad dreams too, and when I do, I think of that fairy. She helps chase all the nasty thoughts and bad dreams away. I'll draw you a picture of something you really like and you can stick it over your bed. Then if you feel sad, you can look at it and you'll soon feel better and the bad dream will float away.
The sun. Draw me a picture of the sun. I really like him. He's always smiling. It's really nice. Thank you,
said the grub. Stick it on your wall over your bed, Berry said. The grub took the picture with a smile and walked happily home.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
The scooter. One spring morning, Morris the Maybug decided to make himself a scooter. He spent the whole day sawing, drilling and hammering, and when he was finished, he painted the scooter black. Then he hurried to show his super scooter to his friends. The boys were all playing basketball in the meadow. Berry, Stanley, Balthazar, Eddie, Bubble and Alfonso. Look at my new scooter. I made it all myself.
Can I have a try?
No one can borrow it. It's mine.
I only want to try it for a minute.
We'd like to have a go on it too, then we'll give it back. I'm not lending it to anyone, Morris told them again. The boys were so busy arguing that they didn't spot Eddie, who grabbed the scooter and rode off on it. Stop! Bring it back! It's my scooter and I didn't lend it to you. I'm not lending it to anyone. Eddie slowed down and Morris soon caught up with him. Give me my scooter back. Here you are. It doesn't go fast enough anyway. Not fast enough? Look at this. Not fast enough? You can hardly keep up with me, he shouted with a laugh, but he didn't see a big pothole in the middle of the road.
Watch out, Morris!
Balthazar, Berry and Stanley all shouted at once, but it was too late.
Well, you've only got yourself to blame, Morris,
Balthazar said in a snooty tone. What happened, Morris? Are you badly scratched? Why aren't you boys helping him? The rose beetle asked the others.
It's all Morris's fault.
It doesn't matter how it happened. He's really hurt himself and you should have helped. Come back to my house, Morris, and I'll clean those nasty scratches for you. Rosita sat Morris down and washed his wounds with a warm, wet cloth. It doesn't look that bad now. Morris started to sob. It was all my fault because I was mean to the others. If I hadn't been so mean, it wouldn't have happened. Then don't be mean next time. Thank you for all your help, Morris said as he left. It was nothing. You'll feel better soon. Morris limped all the way back to his house. The minute he got home, he jumped into bed and he was soon fast asleep. The little Maybug woke up the next morning with a wonderful idea. He got out his paints and brushes. I'm going to paint you pink. Look at you. I've brought this for you. Thank you for helping me yesterday. It looks lovely. Did you paint it? Rosita asked. Yes, I thought you wouldn't like it black. I love it. I'm going to ride it over to Dolly's house. Be careful. Have a safe ride. Morris walked home and he was about to eat his lunch when he heard a knock at the door.
Hello, Morris.
Balthazar said first.
We came to see if you were feeling better.
Much better, thank you, Morris shrugged. I promise that I won't take your scooter again, Eddie said with an apologetic smile. I haven't got it anymore. I painted it pink and gave it to Rosita. But I can make a new scooter, Morris said. I promised Rosita that I won't be mean again. Everyone can have a go on my new scooter when it's finished. Hooray! Bubble shouted. Now would you all like a piece of apple pie? I baked it myself. Morris soon finished the new scooter. He painted it dark green. All the friends gathered in the meadow the next day and took turns to have a go on the two scooters.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
The bicycle. One summer day, a pigeon delivered a parcel to Berry and Dolly. It was quite a big parcel and wrapped in pretty red paper and tied with a blue ribbon. Dolly read the note attached. It's from the centipede! Hooray! He's coming to visit us soon, and he sent us this present. To us? Berry asked. What do you mean? To me or you? It says in the letter that it's for us. It's a present for both of us, I suppose. That's silly, Berry argued. I'm sure it's meant to be for me because I was the one who found him in the snow last Christmas. But he stayed at my house. I looked after him and made him tea, Dolly replied. But I read him caterpillar stories from the storybook, Berry added. The red wrapping paper wasn't that strong and it soon tore open. Wheels poked out from underneath. It's a bicycle, Berry exclaimed. It's just perfect for me. No, it's just perfect for me, Dolly insisted. All right, you can have the bicycle if you want it so much. I'll be the bigger person. You're behaving like a silly baby. That upset Berry. That's not fair. I'm going to be the bigger person and you're the silly baby. You can have the bicycle. In the end, neither of them took the bicycle. They walked away and left the half-unwrapped bicycle in the meadow. Not long after that, Balthazar the bee and Flutter the butterfly came by.
What do you think it is? Is it a bicycle?
Balthazar asked. Yes, it looks like it, Flutter replied. there's a note stuck to it. It's for Berry and Dolly from the centipede.
Let's take it to them,
Balthazar suggested. They touched the bicycle and the rest of the wrapping paper fell off. This made them laugh. Look, it's a tandem. 2 people can ride it.
Let's have a go,
Balthazar said. Hello, Berry. Hello, Dolly. We brought you your bike. You left it in the meadow, Flutter shouted. Berry and Dolly came outside. They saw Flutter and Balthazar on the bicycle and felt very silly.
Oh, it's a tandem. We can both sit on it.
And we had such a fight about it. They made friends again and hugged each other happily.
What a super present. We wasted all our time quarrelling and we haven't made anything for the centipede. He could arrive at any minute.
Let's make him a colourful windmill. We can use pretty petals, Flutter suggested. Yes, that's a great idea, Berry and Dolly agreed. The 4 friends gathered red, purple, white, yellow and pink petals and made a windmill. Just then, the centipede arrived in a cart pulled by a mouse. The little mouse stopped in the meadow and the centipede climbed out. He gave Berry and Dolly a big hug. I see you got my present. I hope you like it. It's beautiful. We love it, Berry and Dolly said. And we made you this windmill. The centipede stayed with Berry and Dolly for 10 whole days. They went for long rides on their bicycle. They played a lot. They had a very good time, but the happy days passed soon. I have to go home now. I've had such a super time here. Do come and visit us again next summer, Berry and Dolly said, as they waved goodbye to their friend.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
Earache. It was a sunny autumn afternoon and Dolly decided to go and see her friend Berry. I'm going down to the stream to collect pebbles. Do you want to come? But Berry didn't feel like going out to play. I don't know, Dolly. I'm very cold and I've got a headache and my ears really hurt. Oh, Berry, your ears are all red, Dolly said. And you've got a temperature. I'll fly and fetch Dr. Owl. The ladybird flew straight to Dr. Owl's tree. Dr. Owl, you need to come quickly. Berry feels very poorly. Dr. Owl quickly packed his doctor's bag, put on his white coat and hurried to see the sickly snail. Hello there, Berry. Let me have a look at you. I need to listen to your chest. So Berry took off his pyjama top and breathed in like the doctor said. Open wide. I need to look at your throat now. I don't want to, Berry snapped. But I have to see if it's red or not, Dr. Owl explained, and shone a torch down the little snail's throat. And now I'll take a peek inside your ear. This was really too much for Berry. He started to cry and clamped his hands over his ears. Don't be silly, Berry. It won't hurt a bit. And Dolly held Berry's hand to make him feel better. She was right. It didn't hurt a bit. Well, Berry, Dr. Owl explained, you've bad earache. You've gone and caught a nasty cold. You need to have a spoonful of this medicine every day. Drink lots of sweet tea and put bags of warm wheat on your ears. Berry's friends came to help him right away. Balthazar brought honey, Flutter brought chamomile flowers, and Stanley brought rose hips, and they made tea for the patient. Dolly warmed the wheat in a pan and poured it into little cloth bags. Hold these on your ears until they cool down. Berry put the bags on and didn't take them off until they cooled down. Next morning, Dolly found a handful of shiny pebbles on Berry's table. Wow, Berry, lovely pebbles. Who gave you these? I found them down by the stream, Berry said proudly. You went down to the stream? Dolly asked angrily. That was very silly, Berry. You're still not better. You'll get sick again. And Dolly was right. Berry was soon back in bed with a temperature. His little friends came to visit him every day. They read him stories and put on puppet shows. But just as Berry started to get better, Dolly started feeling worse. Now she'd got earache, and this time Berry took care of Dolly. He made her tea and warmed the wheat bags for her ears. Now it was time for Dr. Owl to pay Dolly a visit.
Gracious me! It seems we have a new patient. I think you must have caught it from Berry.
He told Dolly exactly what to do. Then he took another quick look at Berry.
You look well enough, but I'll examine you just in case. Everything's fine. You've made a full recovery, little snail.
Another few days passed. Dolly did as she was told and took her medicine. She drank plenty of tea and stayed in bed, and she soon felt much better. Dr. Owl came to see her one last time and told her she was fine. So now we can go down to the stream together and collect pebbles. Berry was very excited. Hooray! Let's all go down to the stream! Dr. Owl's 3 chicks tweeted.
Remember to dress up nice and warm. It's cold outside.
But there was no need to warn Dolly and Berry. They both wore a scarf, a hat, and warm boots. They stayed and played until it got dark and collected a whole bucket full of shiny pebbles.